Yeah, let me start by explaining the inspiration for this topic. This happened relatively recently with a newer client of ours in my coaching work. And my client said, Gary, um, I need more new patients. And I think I need to start spending money on Google pay per click, Google ads. And I've got to work my budget out, but I need more new patients than I'm currently seeing. And I'm wondering if you think the best thing to do would be to spend money on Google ads. And I say, before we do that, let me ask you a question. Are you getting enough calls in your practice? Or is it an issue of we're getting enough calls, but we're not converting the appropriate percentage to new patient appointments? And he said, we were in a Zoom call. And so he looked right at me through the screen. He said, Gary, I have no idea. I don't know. And I said, well, it's a really important thing to understand, because if you're getting enough calls, then it's not a marketing problem. You know, marketing's job is to make the phone ring. If you're getting enough calls, it's not a marketing problem. But if you're not getting enough calls, then we got to solve that through marketing. And maybe a good approach would be to spend some money on Google pay-per-click or Google ads. But if the other issue is at play, meaning you're getting enough calls but you're not converting them, then it's a matter of increasing our conversion. And he said, and I said, well, wait a minute, we can help you with this because you're a common client, you're a coaching client of mine, and you're an Equi client. So we can get the data. I said, let's get the data first. So Naren, as you know, I went to you and your team, and you produced the data. And we discovered that in the last 3 months, this particular client, I'll leave the client anonymous because I don't want to disclose names and it's confidential. But in this particular client, he was only converting over a 3-month period of time, which is long enough to kind of get a snapshot. He was converting 25% of his potential new patient calls were being converted to a new patient appointment, 25%. Now, without context, that data isn't going to mean anything. So let's put some context to it. In fact, let's benchmark it for you. I'm going to share with you a grading scale is different than the grading scale we recognize from elementary school. The grading scale I'm going to suggest is this. A call conversion percentage of 70% or higher is an A on the report card. An A on the report card, 70% or higher. A call conversion percentage of 60 to 70% would be a B. The closer you are to 70, it's more like a B plus. The closer you are to 60, it's more like a B minus. And then 50 to 60 would be a C. Again, closer to 60 would be a C plus. Closer to 50 would be a C minus. Less than 50 is failing. So Naren, with that scale in mind, how's 25%?
Definitely a fail.
Fail.
Yes.
Failing. And so when I disclosed this to him, I shared the information. I said, you're getting enough calls, but you're not converting those. And immediately he said, oh man, I really like my admin team members. I hope, I hope I don't have to get new team members. And I said, no, I've had a chance to meet your team members. You've got really good team members. And I can say that because there's other things they do in the practice really well. They do really well. And I said, by the way, how much training have you done? How much call training have you done? And he said, well, altogether, Gary, that would be 0. None. I've never done. I don't know how to do it. I didn't even know how to get the data. I didn't know I had the data. And so I said, well, let's start there. Because if we do some call training, in other words, we together listen to some calls, and then provide some coaching and training. This is something I've done at LifeSmiles from our very beginning of ownership back to 2007. And I've said before, doctors, if you're not recording your calls, you have absolutely no idea how those phones are being handled. If you're not recording them, you have no idea. And I believe that even more strongly now. It's important to be able to provide coaching to our team to respond well. They typically respond very well to that.